Assalamu alaikum. Your Highness, Sheikh Hamid bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to Abu Dhabi and welcome to the Global Aerospace Summit. As a representative of Mubadala, of Abu Dhabi, and of the United Arab Emirates, I am extremely proud to be with you here today, addressing the leading decision makers from the global aerospace, aviation, space, and defense industries. Within the wider context of Abu Dhabi Aviation and Aerospace Week, under the patronage of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Supreme Commander of the UAE Armed Forces, I am delighted that we have created a unique platform for industry dialogue and engagement beyond borders here in the United Arab Emirates. Before you dive into 2 days of strategic discussions and debate and focus on building and nurturing partnerships, I want to reiterate the UAE's deep and lasting commitment to these industries as key pillars of our economic diversification mission. I also want to demonstrate why this economic climate reinforces and strengthens the UAE's focus on these areas. While it is important to celebrate our shared successes and reflect on our many achievements to date, it's critical for any business to reflect on current economic challenges, as well as those in the horizon. I'm sure you're all focused, as we are, on navigating through this turbulence that's currently affecting our global economy. No globally focused business or globally integrated industry like yours can be immune to the ongoing challenging economic conditions, the uncertainties, the unpredictability, the oil price, which of course benefits some here. I look at our airline industry. The slowdown in the Chinese economy, global stock market volatility, commodity prices have been decimated, uncertainty around Europe, or just general business confidence around the world. The US election. We are used to, at least in my professional career, a US election, Democrat or Republican candidates that in general stay within a particular band. Over the last 30 years, we have seen Democratic presidents, we have seen Republican presidents, but even in the election process, there was a certain amount of predictability, whichever way it went. As we look at this general election, on one side we have a declared socialist, and on the other side, in the Republican Party, a leading candidate, which I struggle to describe him. I'm not sure how to describe him. Just on a side note, I wrote a note in June. And in that note, I was assessing or writing an assessment on how I see the election, the US election coming up. So in version 1.0, written in June, I wrote essentially that Mr. Trump is a phenomenon, but by September he will fade out. That was my assessment in writing. In September, I wrote a 2.0 version. He's a phenomenon, but actually, in my 1.0 version, a phenomenon that cannot win the Republican ticket, let alone the general election. Version 2.0 in September, he can win, unlikely, but he can win. But I held, in bold, unlikely, a Republican ticket. Version 3.0 was in December. Looks like he will likely win the Republican ticket, but I still stand will not win a presidential election. I will not write version 4.0, I assure you. I guess the point of the story here is there is an additional element of unpredictability, which also adds to the challenges we face. This is not something we are used to. It's not something we are used to assess. We struggle today to make a prediction in terms of where this is going and the impact this will have, both on the United States, but also on the global economy. What is critical is how you react to these challenges. Do you pause? Do you panic? Do you tear up your plans? I'm sure that you're all interested in our perspective on the oil price. Clearly a topic which we have some experience in, and obviously a lot of interest in. First and foremost, low oil prices are not something new for us here in the Gulf. It has happened before, and I assure you it will happen again. I was having coffee just yesterday afternoon with my good friend Daniel Jurgen, the author of the prize. And we were discussing what's happening with this industry. One of the big challenges that we remind ourselves is the trap of the new norm. When oil price, I've lived through a time when oil prices were at $11. And there was talk within the industry, within the media, within the world, within the consumers, that that was the new norm. That $11 was the new norm. And that was not too long ago. I also witnessed oil at $150. And guess what? The discussion of the industry, the discussion of the media, the discussion of the analysts, was that $150 was the new norm. The reality, I think we've lived through these cycles up and down. We have to beware of falling into the trap of the new norm and always remind ourselves of the cyclicality of this industry. To really understand how we in the UAE view our relationship with oil, you must explore the words of our founding father, His Highness, the late Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan. From the moment oil was discovered in the UAE, Sheikh Zayed had already identified the need to look beyond the immediate financial benefits of this blessing. He said, and I quote, "We must not rely on oil alone as the main source of our national income. We have to diversify the sources of our revenue and construct economic projects that will ensure a free, stable, and dignified life for the people of this country." Close quotation. And today, in the words and actions of His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of the United Arab Emirates, and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President of the United Arab Emirates and ruler of Dubai, this focus on creating opportunities for the people of the UAE through economic diversification continues at pace. A clear message on this came from His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, speaking at the World Government Summit last year. He said, and I quote, "In 50 years, when we might have the last barrel of oil, the question is, when it is shipped abroad, will we be sad?" He asked. "If we are investing today in the right sectors, I can tell you we will celebrate at that moment." Close quotation. As CEO of Mubadala, one of the vehicles established to drive economic diversification across a range of strategic sectors, these messages from our leadership reinforce one key strategic message. The UAE has always and will continue to think in terms of decades rather than months or years. Operational diligence is always critical in the face of volatility, but our strategic direction remains clear and our long-term focus remains intact. And your collective industries are perhaps some of the best examples of economic vision in action. It is worth reflecting on how far our aerospace industry has come in such a short space of time. It has been an incredible journey, built upon the original economic vision of our leadership, which identified the aerospace, aviation, and defense sectors as industrial engines that would drive sustainable economic development here in the UAE. When our friends at Boeing are set to celebrate their 100th birthday this year, and when we realize that the agreement that gave birth to the A300 at the Paris Air Show was signed almost 50 years ago, it is sometimes easy to forget that Emirates Airways is less than 30 years old and Etihad Airways is less than 15 years old. Pausing for a moment, it has been a great source of pride to see both our national airlines, Emirates and Etihad, grow into one of the largest and most competitive airlines in the world. It has also been just 9 years since Mubadala announced that it was focusing on the creation of a sustainable aerospace industry built around two core areas: services and manufacturing. Under the leadership of my friend and colleague, Hamid al-Shimmari, with the support of the government and in partnership with the leading global players, the development of our aerospace defense and ICT offerings in this short time has been quite remarkable. Strata, the composite aerostructures manufacturing facility in Al Ain, is now a Tier 1 supplier to both Airbus and Boeing. In 2013, Etihad Airways began operating aircraft with primary parts produced by Strata, marking a milestone for made in the UAE manufactured composites. In Emirates defense industries, the UAE's defense industries have been incorporated into a single integrated platform, streamlining operations and improving the Emirates' competitive advantage regionally. Yasat launched its first satellite in 2011, its second in 2012, and is planning to launch its third next year in 2017, delivering affordable satellites broadband services to over 28 countries in the Middle East, Africa, and Southwest Asia. And in Nabras Al Ain Aerospace Park, we have a dedicated industrial platform for aerospace projects including manufacturing and maintenance facilities, aerospace and industrial organizations, education and training institutions, research and development facilities, and of course, SMEs. Most importantly though, remembering Sheikh Zayed's original vision is the impact that these developments are having on the lives of the people of the UAE. Take Strata's achievement, for example, in becoming a Tier 1 supplier to both Airbus and Boeing. Quite a tremendous industrial milestone. But the greatest source of pride is the fact that over 85% of our Emirati workforce in Strata are women. Emirati women. Knowing that we are supporting the government's goal to increase the participation of women in the economy, especially in the industry, this truly is a reward in its own self. In closing, I just want to thank all of you for your partnership in this wider goal. Together, we have made strides, great strides, in establishing an ecosystem through the formation of partnerships and investments with world-leading organizations, blending global expertise with local resources. I stand here to reiterate that the UAE will continue to focus on driving the global aerospace industry from our emerging hub here in the UAE. 2, continue to work with you to develop globally integrated supply chains and networks. And 3, continue to act as a proud oasis of security in this region. Enjoy your time in Abu Dhabi. There is therefore no better time to pause, reflect, and shape the future of the global aerospace industry. Thank you very much.